Okay, so as you know, today's session will cover several aspects related to how to approach and to communicate with the business stakeholders, and in particular in this session we will focus on what we have to do as researchers to before presenting ourselves and our research in front of potential, I don't know, clients, partners, investors, so business stakeholder. And I think that Francesco's presentation has been very useful as it has, we can say, prepared the way for the next presentation. Introducing the language and the logic of industry, which are slightly different from the research one, because business stakeholders don't talk the same language as researchers, because they don't know, for example, they don't know what a protein is, what RNA is. They don't know quite anything about the process of drug discovery, for example, of RNA sequencing. So concepts that you usually take for granted, that are the basis of your work, are often somehow unknown to the business audience. So business stakeholders are interested in the output of your research because they are, as Francesco said, the only one that can really transfer the results of your research from the lab to the world. So having some kind of impact of society. So as researcher, one task that has to be done before communicating with business stakeholder is defining the value proposition of your research, of your technology. That is to say, to clearly identify the value that your research project gives to the stakeholder with whom you are talking to, but also to understand why your technology, your research is different and hopefully better than the competitors. In which way your solution is better than the current state of the art in quite tangible way. So today's session we will focus on this, on how to define and identify a good way of communicate the value of your research. Before starting, just let me introduce myself briefly. I'm Arianna. I'm a junior project manager in the startup unit of HIT. HIT is a foundation which promotes the results of scientific research in Trentino through technology transfer activities to private company and investors. So we can say we support Trentino's research system and laboratories in technology transfer and innovation processes. And beside that, we also take part and coordinate in sets of formats and education processes like this one, like this training school, so to promote entrepreneurship among master students, PhD, professors, and researchers. So I think that we can start with the core of today's session. So what's on the menu today? This. So the problem solution fit. Why is it important to talk about problem solution fit to an audience of researchers involved in the labs in research and development activities on a daily basis? Because I guess many of you are working or are already developed some kind of technology, and maybe one day you might want to get profit from such technology, for example, through license agreements, as Francesco said, but also creating a startup. And in this scenario, so you have a technology, you have a solution, which is your technology, hopefully, and you're looking for a problem to be solved by your technology in an efficient way. And here is where the criticalities, the problems begin, because you have to be sure that your technology is solving a problem that really exists and not a problem that you suppose it might exist, right? So Otherwise, your research won't have any impacts on society. So the aim of today's session is to show you a hands-on tool, which is the value proposition canvas you can see here. And it's a tool to design and test a product, a service, your technology, which succeeds in solving the problem of your customer target. So I guess that everyone knows this man. He's Henry Ford. And long story short, so when we say problem solution fit, maybe the word problem is somehow misleading, because many innovations developed throughout history didn't exactly solve an explicit problem. Rather, they help people to get their jobs done, to get their task done in a way which was better than the old way, right? So think about Henry Ford and his famous quote, and just read it. If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses, right? So in the 90s, people didn't want a faster horse. Instead, they wanted to get from A to B in a faster way. So in order to spend more time doing other things, such as watching baseball and playing games. So they didn't quite have a problem. They just wanted to do their task, to get their task done. This is a basic concept to be kept in mind. Another example. How many of you have an iPhone?
Sorry, Arianna?
Yeah?
We cannot see the presentation very well because there is a pop-up.
Okay, so just
the pop-up from
yeah. I don't know. I put the switch off, but just we can do like this. So I would. Where is this? Just close it. So okay. So the good of the virtual events. Okay, let's go back to this. To the right slide. There you go. Okay, so as I said, how many of you have an iPhone? Actually, okay, raise your hand. I see some of you. Michela, Ilaria, Patricia. Okay, I see some. I mean, many of you has one. Okay, so why did you decide to buy an iPhone, a phone, which cost more or less like a 1 month apartment rent? So anyone who wants to take a stand and said why they choose the iPhone instead of other cheaper alternative?
But mine was a gift.
Okay. Anyone else?
Lucky you.
In my case, well, no, in my case it was because it communicates with the computer that I have in the lab, so I can work with the phone.
Okay. Okay, so you see somehow a value that iPhone gives to you instead, and that other other alternatives don't. Okay, this is a key concept. So this man over here, wouldn't agree with you. So as you can see, when the first iPhone was released, and we will see it in the video, he was quite skeptical about its potential success. So does anyone know who this man is? Just to be curious.
He's the leader of Microsoft.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So
and he loves singing.
Yeah. She's Steve Ballmer. Exactly. So just give a quick look at this video.
I think the sound is not on.
Just
stop the presentation.
Okay.
And again,
Arianna,
yeah.
you need to reshare your screen, but activating the option to share your sound.
Okay, so otherwise I can chat the link, the YouTube link. So maybe it's better and more comfortable. I don't know. Well, actually, we can do like this. I can just share with you what he said. So he said actually $500. And I said that is the most expensive phone in the world, and it doesn't appeal to business customer because it doesn't have a keyboard, which makes it not very a good email machine. So that was what Steve Ballmer said, which is one of the Microsoft co-founder and former CEO of Microsoft. So at that time, when iPhone was first released, all the other phones cost 100, 150 euro. But the iPhone, on the contrary, was a lot more expensive. And what Steve Ballmer didn't see in 2007 was that the iPhone was actually aiming to be the most personal computer ever. So a PC in your pocket. The aim was not be the best phone, but was to be the most comfortable, most useful personal computer in a pocket. So Apple was disruptive. Windows on the desktop, not on the mobile, because looking back at the example of Henry Ford, people didn't want a keyboard. So people just want something that allowed them to do the same thing that they would have done using a PC. So that's the difference between the problem and the need, between the problem and the task, the job that people want to get done. So this funny anecdote is just a gentle reminder of the fact that it's not easy to understand what customer and users really want. So what their needs are, what their activities they need to perform in order to achieve their goal. So if he was wrong too, I mean, and he's not a newcomer, so we can say, it means that building this problem solution fit between your technology, your research, and those who will have to use it is not so easy and not so straightforward. Okay, so today's agenda, in brief, we will see a few key concepts. Then we will go through the value proposition canvas, which is a hands-on tool that you can use to design and test this problem solution fit between your technology and the need that you address through your research. And then the second part of the lesson, it will be a hands-on workshop. So we will be divided into groups and working on the technology that you've been assigned to. Okay, so let's look at this picture, right? So for sure, this product has several problems. So usability problem, usability criticalities, because, well, the fan weighs too much and make eating with sticks rather impossible, I guess. There could also be security problem, because I don't think that it's a good idea to use an electrical device next to liquids. But such a solution isn't poor because of this problem, or better said, isn't poor not only because of this problem. The problem here is that the solution isn't really a solution because it doesn't solve any problem. I mean, how many of you have tried to eat a soup and got their tongue burned because it was too hot? Me. I think everyone has experienced this problem. But how did you solve this problem? How did you solve the problem of not eating the soup because it was too hot?
Just wait a little bit.
Exactly. So just wait. So you see, you solved your problem in a way which was far more efficient than using this item. So is it the problem of the hot soap so big that you would have bought this kind of item? No, absolutely not. So The question is, how can I avoid to create a solution to a non-existent problem? Research, surveys, observation to deeply understand what the problem is, how people are trying to solve it right now in the current situation, and try to understand if the solution that they are using is good enough. So the issue here is not about the product, it's not about missing feature. The problem is about the concept itself. So it is not useful to the target. And this issue must be addressed early on, quite early on in the product development cycle, at the beginning, even before deciding whether to start developing anything or not. And why? Well, because if you spend tons of researches in terms of time, financial resources, mental energy as well, because as being a researcher is a hard work job in terms of mental energy and time. So if you spend so much resources developing something that no one would buy because it doesn't solve any problem, it will result in a double failure. So an economic failure, but also a personal failure, because you've spent years for developing something which then proved useless when you move it from the lab to the real scenario. And this lack of problem solution fit, it is the first cause of death for startup, for companies starting from the lab, but not only from the lab. So generally speaking, 36%, but also more, I think, of the startup fail because they build something that nobody wants. So the first problem you have to tackle is to be sure that your research solves a real problem and not a problem that it exists only in your mind. And another example to point out the importance of defining the right problem and being sure that this problem exists. So this is a picture phone. It was invented in 1960 and was the first true video conferencing service. So some kind of ancestral Zoom, we can say. And it has been considered a great technology breakthrough, a great technology innovation. Because unlike earlier system in which people had to visit public video phone booths to conf call, with this new item, with the picture phone, any company or individual could pay to be connected to the system, and then after being connected, call everyone in the network from their home or office. So not stepping outside their home. Was considered a technical success because it expanded the limit of telecommunication. It was seen as a great innovation, but however, such product met a commercial failure because no one wanted to buy it. So the problem here is that at that time, in the 1960s, no one was interested in calling someone while seeing their face. So again, people just wanted to get in touch with one another. They reached their aim, they used the telephone, and they were satisfied with that. They were not interested in some technical upgrade. So again, the problem here was to validate the problem and then find a solution which fits the problem. And with this example, we got to the most important slide of today's session. So let's try to describe and comment it a little bit. I mean, there's a girl. She's smiling, she's dancing. So I guess that she's happy. She's happy because she succeeded in satisfying her need. So listen to music. And as you can see around her, there's a technology and an ecology of technologies. related to the action of listening to music. So a cassette type, tape, a CD-ROM, then there are some kind of mini discs and an MP3 player, iPods, and then Spotify. So look at the technological gap between the first and the last item. But there is also a big difference in the experience, because the turntable was heavy, was bulky. You couldn't carry the turntable with you, so you were forced to listen to music only at home. Vinyls were expensive and only contain 3 or 4 songs. On the contrary, Spotify is a service. It doesn't weigh, it's not bulky, and you can carry it wherever you want, and it has a huge library of thousands of songs. So, but maybe the most important point to note here is that the girl is happy regardless of the technology that she's using. She's happy now listening to Spotify. She was happy listening to MP3 player, I don't know, while commuting. And she is happy. Why she is happy regardless of the technology? Because her aim was to listen to music, and she found a way to do that. And all these different products, items, support her, allows her to do something that gave value to her. So listening to music. So another concept that to keep in mind here is to develop, in your case, a technology that support the customer, the users, in doing something that is valuable. So we are not talking about needs, about problems, about desire, but tasks. So jobs to be done, tasks in order to be happy and satisfied. So let's keep it pragmatic, because you can't be sure about needs and desire, because people often don't know what they want. But for sure, people know what they do, their daily activities. So, okay, now having seen some basic concept, we can go on. I can see something in the chat. Okay, her need was satisfied by each one of the products. Exactly. That's why she was happy regardless of the technology. Exactly, Francisca. Yeah, this is the key concept. So that we have to focus on answering the need, regardless the way in which we can do that. Okay, we can go on with the presentation of a hands-on tool that you can use to build and test this product solution fit of your technology, which is the value proposition canvas. But to use this tool in a very effective way, first we have to take a step back and say something about the underlying methodology which informs this item. And such methodology is called the Lean Startup approach, and it's quite a pragmatic and scientific approach. So I think it may resonate with your scientific approach in the lab, because like any other experiments, it requires to build the experiment first, to run the experiment, to measure the parameter you're interested in, and then to learn key insights from the experiment. So, and you will use the insights, these new data, either to build better experiments or to create knowledge. And so the first thing you have to do, and we will do it today, is to design the experiment. So define the hypothesis about problem, about solution, and the hypotheses that you want to test. Then you run the experiment to collect data, and then you have to analyze what you have measured during the experiment to understand if such hypothesis has been validated, and if not, think about why and what were the wrong assumptions. So you see, the goal of this approach is to turn uncertainties, assumption, and risk into knowledge, into, let me say, sure things that will eventually guide you in a more efficient development of your technology. And the tool that we will be using today, the value proposition canvas, is specifically designed to build the hypothesis. So to brainstorming a little bit about your customer, the needs of your customer, and how your solution fit with the customer need. Okay, this is the tool. This is the value proposition canvas. And this is the tool that we will use also in the workshop in the next part of the session to build our hypothesis on the problem solution fit. So as you can see, the canvas is made up of two parts. There is the circle on the right hand side. The circle is the customer profile. We will go then in deeper detail. And the square, on the contrary, is the value proposition. That is the value that in this case, your research project promises to deliver to the customer. So these are the two main building blocks. Let's go now in deeper in details, and let's focus on the circle on the right hand side of the canvas. Well, my suggestion is to always start with the customer side of the value proposition canvas, because doing so, you are sure that you're focusing on the needs and the wants of the customer. So in this phase, please forget about your research, about your technology, and focus only on the customer, on the people who will buy your technology, to avoid the bias of projecting the feature of your solution to the customer. So just focus on the target. And
sorry, Arianna,
yeah?
can you maybe just underline the differences between a user and customer?
Yeah, above all, maybe it's important to do this in the life science and biotech businesses. Yeah, the user is the person who use your solution. So I imagine in this case the patient. So is the person who will use your solution. The customer is instead the person who will buy your product. And in some businesses, for example, businesses related to service, user and customer, the two concepts overlaps, because the people who will buy the solution is also the people who will use it. But in the biotech and life science, and when talking about pharma, this distinction has to be clear, because I think 99% of the cases, the people who will buy your technology is different from the one who will use it. So, and this is just, thank Milena to point this, because I was taking for granted this concept. So it's right to get some clarification about that. So we will, okay. So here, let's go back to the circle, to the customer. So someone who will pay for your research, for your solution. Here, the crucial thing at this point is, as I said, is to distance yourself from your solution and try to understand what the customer wants. So to define who the customer is, you have to understand who are you going to serve with your product, who will benefit from it, and who will be eager to pay for it. So as we said, once we define who the customer is, then we have to understand the jobs. That is to say, the activities, the tangible, the real activities that he or she is trying to perform. Be careful here, because as I said, we are not talking about expectation, which are somehow related to psychological factors. We are talking about tasks, about pragmatic jobs to be done, about daily activities they have to perform. So instead of asking yourself what are the needs of the customer, what I suggest is to ask yourself what results do they want, what outcome do they want, what is the value that they are looking for. So for, using the example of the iPhone, the value in that case was to have an item which easily connect with other devices. So this is the results that the customer is looking for. So not the needs, not the expectation. You could ask yourself, for example, what tasks are your customer trying to perform in their work or personal life? What is the one thing that your customer couldn't live without accomplishing? So be pragmatic, think about task, activities, outcome in these segments. Then go on with pains. Pains are a barrier, negative experiences, risk that the customer experiences in the process of getting their activities done. Pain may include everything that annoys or directly prevents a customer from doing their task. So, and if you can't find any pains, well, your technology, your research will be poor, because it won't give the customer any value. So maybe it's one of the most important elements to focus on while trying to fill in this canvas. And please, again, focus on the reasons why the customer is unsatisfied. So not about needs, not about expectation, about really barrier, about something that prevents people in doing what they need to do. You could, for example, investigate what makes your customer feel bad. What are their frustrations? Are there any performance issues that annoy them? Or I try to put in the researcher's shoes while trying to do some kind of research on RNA and in the lab. Maybe some problems could be higher cost or institutional obstacles. There could be problem related to the higher amount of data that you have to process, and your actual technology and machines are not so performing. So problems related to time, to efficiency, to security. So there are many pains that you may experience. Then there are desires. Desires are the expected benefit that the customer wants to get while doing their job correctly. So we have to ask ourselves, what are the benefits that our customer is looking for while doing their activity? So when I say benefits, I mean positive outcomes. So again, be practical, think about outcomes, think about results to be achieved. Gains are not the contrary of pain, but are something in surplus, because benefits are not the solution of the pain. We can consider them as nice to have, but Here, the most important feature to focus on is pain, because what we have to do is try to solve this pain. Now we can move to the square, which focuses on your product, or in this case, your technology. And we can start with the pain relievers. This section of the value proposition canvas covers the way in which your project, your technology, alleviate the pains that you've written in the circle. So there should be a fit between pain and pain relievers, because in this block you define how you intend to eliminate or to reduce some of the pain that the customer is experiencing while doing their task. So pain and pain relievers are the most important building blocks of the canvas, because your solution is only useful if it helps the customer to successfully face a significant pain point. And pain relievers are usually represented, as you can see, with an icon of a pill. So you can think about them as pills that heal your customer pain. You have to think about how and why your research, your technology, your discovery may, for example, produce savings in terms of time, of money, of effort, of human resources, or how it eliminates risks, concerns, worries, or, for example, how to improve the performance of the existing solution. And as in the circle part here too, you have not to list just the feature, the characteristic of your research, but focus on outcomes again, not about characteristic, but what your technology, what your research allows people to do. And of course, to build a good problem solution fit, the pain relievers should match with the pain that you have written in the circle part of the canvas. Again, the gain creators. So once you are done with pain relievers, comes the moment to list the benefit and the positive outcomes that your research project can create for the customer. And think about gain generator in terms of outcomes. And here maybe just I give you an example to understand maybe the difference between feature, characteristic, and outcomes. Going back to the iPhone example, the feature is, for example, the battery of my smartphone lasts 24 hours. The outcome is slightly different. The outcome could be, okay, I can listen to music for more than 7 hours. And this is thanks to the feature that the battery of the smartphone lasts 24 hours. So just to use a quite simple example to catch the difference between feature, characteristic, and outcomes.
Sorry, can
Yeah?
should this game creators section meet the desires of the customers section?
Yeah, this is a good question, because it might be, but the most important thing is that in this case, pains and pains relievers are more important than gain and gain creators. So there should be a match between pain and pain relievers, but it's not something compulsory. We can say the fit between gains creator and desire and gains, and this is because if people are not interested in getting some benefits if they still have a problem that remain unsolved, right? So you're not, I guess, Beatrice, you're not interested in getting some kind of benefits if you still have a problem that is unsolved, right?
Oh, okay. So it's more important
Yeah.
that the pain relievers match the pain customer. Okay.
Yeah. Then, of course, if there is a match between the gains creator and the gain, it's okay, it's even better.
All right.
But of course, people want to get their job done, and our solution has to help them getting their job done. So this is maybe one of the most important lessons of today's session. So thank you, Beatrice, for underlining this. Okay, so next one, the last building block of the value proposition Canva is the one related to the characteristic, the feature of our technology. So here you will just write down the characteristic of your technology, of your product. And so it's basically a description of your technology, something that maybe you would see reading the menu list at the restaurant. So a list of specific is what you offer and what the customer will pay for, basically. They can be, and we will see it with an example, they can be both tangible and intangible feature. And to sum up, what is the result that we want to achieve with the canvas? The canvas aims at achieving a fit between what the customer wants and what your technology, your service, your platform can offer to overcome the pain and hopefully to generate somehow some kind of gains. And now that we have understood the basic, I'd like to just increase the level of complexity or maybe lowering, because it's a use case, a case study, which is closer to your background or your field of work. And this is the case of Illumina Dna Sequencing. So Illumina is a company which operates in the field, specifically in the field of reproductive health, so genetic and rare diseases, but also oncology. So it might somehow match some of your research project, and with the goal to apply innovative technology to the analysis of genetic variation and function. And its flagship product is a sequencing platform. So this is the product that Illumina, that the company Illumina sell to the target customer, sequencing platform. And having said that, the sequencing platform, this technology might be used by two different customers. Academics, so researchers like you, but also big pharma companies. So as you can see, in this case, there are two different customer segments, researcher and big pharma companies. And we will see both of them to get some insights about the differences. And as you might imagine, these two customer segments have different jobs to be done, so different activities, different outcome to be reached, and they face, of course, different challenges, different problems in trying to do their daily activities. So let's start with the researcher. Okay, with the academics, research and development. what are some jobs of researchers? Think about your daily activities. What are some kind of daily activities, daily tasks that you do as researchers?
Reading papers.
Yeah. Then?
Performing experiments.
Exactly. Others? You know better than me. Publishing, exactly. So publishing paper during research and development activities, reading paper as well. So, we all know that. And in the specific case of Illumina, well, researchers operating in the field of DNA sequencing has two specific jobs to be done, two activities that they have to do in order science to progress. They have to sequence DNA and get some deep genomic data about it, but they also have to develop technologies to analyze and use such data in a way that of course allows science to progress. So as you can see, tasks are quite tangible, are daily activities, something which is real and simple. Then, in trying to get these activities done, researcher, I guess, but I think it's right. Researchers often face two problems. One is a high throughput. So, because in order to get significant insights from the experiments, researchers have to analyze a great amount of data, and this process, I guess, it's time consuming and expensive. So this is one obstacle of daily activities. Moreover, they often have also limited resources, both human resources and financial resources. So again, a tangible problem, real problem that you feel, you experiment in your daily activities. What about the gains? Well, DNA sequencing allows to achieve advances in genomics and proteomics, and it also, these research and development activities also allow to identify new variants, new modification, new target, and so on. So these are somehow nice to have of the activities, of the task in the labs, basically. Is it clear? If there are any questions, just switch your mic on and we can discuss it. So I hope to be quite simple and clear in this moment. Okay. So let's move to the square part right now. So the one related to the product. In this case, the product, which is a sequencing platform, and its value, the value that gives to the customer is to the pain that it tries to relieve is that it allows to sequence DNA in a cheaper and quicker way. So if you can see in a straightforward way the match between the pain and the pain relievers, because this technology allows for a cheaper and quicker way to do the researcher's task. So this is the value for the researcher. How it allows it? So, well, let's look at the feature of the product to see how it allows such easier and cheaper sequencing. Well, the sequencing platform of Illumina uses a technique which is updated and which is aligned with the state of the art. which is good, which is a key point. It allows to sequence a high volume of data with a higher sensibility, so matching with the needs of sequences a high amount of data. And it also allows to extract medical information from fast sequencing. So such features, such characteristic help us creating value for the researcher, because thanks to our product, we help the researcher doing their daily activities. But yeah,
isn't that the gain creator?
this is the gain creator, because, well, the platform not only relieve the pain of the customer, so offering a way of sequencing which is cheaper and faster, but it also generates something more, some more benefit. In this case, allowing for the analysis of genetic variation and function. So the most important thing is here that the sequencing platform solves the pain of high throughput, of having to sequence and to working on a high amount of data while having limited funds and resources, because it allows to sequence a high volume of data. Looking here at the yellow part, it allows for a high sequencing volume with a higher sensitivity, and so there's a match between these. It's cheaper, so the cheaper here is matched with the limited funds and the limited human resources, and easier. It's easier. It's there is, we can say, easier, more efficient, less time consuming, which solves the pain of having to process our high amount of data, which is often a process which is time consuming. So there is a match between the square part over here and the circle part. Is it clearer? A bit clearer now? Not so.
No.
No, yeah, just try. Let's try to explaining a little bit. So, what's your doubt?
I feel that some of the features for me are gain creators.
It could be. It could be, because we are talking in we are listing features in terms of outcomes. So my product allows to do A, B, C.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's okay to think in terms of outcomes, of results. Yeah. But I guess, well, I promise that it will get easier while doing it on your technology. And we and we will see it in the workshop. So I know it might seem quite confusing right now, because it's related to a different technology that you might not know, but when you will work on your technology, it will get easier to spot specific characteristic, pain and gain, and so on. So this is my experience, at least. So, but we will see it in the breakout session. So, and I will help you in identifying pain, gain, pain creators, and pain relievers and gain creators. So it's okay to have some kind of doubts right now. So okay, so this is the canvas for the researchers. Now let's move to the other customer segment, which was the big pharma. So big pharma companies. Why should big corporation buy a sequencing platform? Well, because they have to develop new drug candidates, and identify and validate novel targets. So these are basically the task, the daily task that big pharma companies has to carry on, has to accomplish. The problem that they face while doing these activities, well, of course, is the need to get large and deep genomic information on targets. And something that, as you might know, is not so easy and immediate to obtain. So this is the key play in preventing big pharma companies to get their job done, which is develop drug candidates and identify and validate targets. So again, practical, pragmatic things. Well, since corporations are for-profit entities, so they not only need to develop new drugs, but it's better for them also to reach the market as soon as possible, because as you may imagine, the sooner you sell the product, you sell the drug, the sooner you will make a profit. So this is a surplus, something which is good to have. But the problem here, the pain here that we have to solve, to address, is the fact that big companies have to obtain and process large and deep data sets. So just to clarify the difference between and the importance of pain and gains. Okay, so that's why they might be very interested in a technology which sequences DNA in a more efficient way. That is to say, a technology which is cheaper and less time consuming. And the platform of Illumina allow exactly this kind of sequencing.
So Arianna,
Yeah?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So in the pains of the big pharma, you stated a need.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
You said that it has to be a negative experience.
Yeah, we can say, instead of saying need to obtain the presence to they need to, instead of say they need, they have to have data, genomic data to get their things down. So it's a need, but it's a tangible need. We can say it's something which is concrete, which is urgent, a priority, something which is clearly stated. So it's not an expectation, it's not a psychological need, it's a really tangible thing. But your point is right, of course, totally, Ainara. So thank you for your suggestion. Are there any other question right now? Not yet. Okay. So going back to our case, our Illumina sequencing platform. Okay, so we said that the platform of Illumina, of this company, allows exactly this kind of sequences, allow for a cheaper and less time-consuming sequencing. And in doing so, it relieves the pain of obtaining large and deep genomic information through sequencing millions of fragments simultaneously. So thanks to this novel process, the big pharma companies can obtain data, more data, and in more data in a cheaper way, and in a less time consuming way. And so this is a way to address the pain. This is possible because of the feature of the product. So the sequencing platform allows, for example, the identification and the development of biomarkers, but it also allows the sequencing of the whole genome in a very efficient way. And in this case, as you can see, the gain generator here is quite self-explanatory, because the method of sequencing applied by Illumina not only allows the sequencing of millions of fragments simultaneously, which was the pain relievers, but it's also faster, and it allows deeper results. And if it's faster, then is faster also the time to market, because the faster is the process of drug discovery and identifying and validate targets, the faster is the go to market, which is good, because the sooner I go to the market, if I am a company, the sooner I will get profit. Okay. So just to show the match between the two. Okay. And then we are now we can enter the second part of today's session. I hope we are on time. Okay, great. So what about the assignment? Well, you will be divided into groups, one for each breakout room, and together with your teammates, you will fill in the value proposition canvas of the technology that you have been associated to, so throughout all the week. You can find the canvas here. I just let me chat you the link. It's a Google Drive folder that I've created, so everyone can access and use the canvas. There is a value proposition canvas for each group, so you will easily find them. So in using Drive, using Cloud Document, we can then collaborate and work in a collaborative way within the breakout rooms. So here are some instructions that might help you in filling in the canvas, or in getting your job done. So using the concept that we've learned so far. So my suggestion is first start with the circle. So with the right hand side of the canvas, that is clarifying who your customer is, their jobs, their pains, their gains. So what we've been learning so far. And well, since gains are not as important as jobs and pain, please, if you are running out of time, focus on pain and pain relievers. But just if you're running out of time. So my suggestion is try to fill everything. And then you can go on with the square. So, and in this case, as we've seen, first identify the pain relievers, then the gain generators, and then define the characteristic of your product, your service, your technology, depending on the technology you've been assigned to. I know that defining the square and the circle in a product or in a service for the consumer and the end users is much easier than defining the value proposition of a drug or a life science technology. So just let me give you some suggestions, some hints to reflect on during the next 30 minutes. Example of pharma value proposition might be, for example, the statin. The statin has the lowest cost per percent LDL reduction compared to the other competitors. Or, for example, this kind of drug reduces hospital admissions at a lower cost than competitors, or I don't know. These are some kind of hints. Other pain relievers that might match with your case study could be efficiency and efficacy, lower cost maybe, safety related to drug discovery maybe, tolerability could be another pain relievers or another point to focus on, dosing, administration. So there are many different value that your technology, that your product may give to the customer. And you will have 30 minutes to do that, and then we will come back in the plenary session, and in the last 10 minutes maybe not each group, but some of the groups will briefly describe in a very short time, 3-4 minutes, the canvas, so with the aim of showing the problem solution fit. I see. Okay. So now what we can do is just open the breakout room.
Sorry,
Yeah.
our product, it's the case studies of each group.
I think that if I'm right, every group has been associated with a technology, exactly. So that's the case to use.
Can I say, so basically in that case study, of course, there is the disease, and then there is the existing solutions, let's say, or what at the moment is being done. And then, of course, there is a part where is your fake role play research, right? And so basically that's your product. So it's the research you are actually doing at the moment, which in some cases might be, overcoming limitations of previous medications, or sometimes there is no medication. So you are actually trying to find a cure for that disease. Milena, do you agree with that? I mean,
yes, of course. I would just put something. Maybe before start working in the groups, we can have a little very short break. So we open the room and then take your time in your group to take a few minutes to
we can agree on the time to go back to the plenary session. So I see it's 11:45, so maybe it's I don't know, because the lesson should end at 12, right? So
isn't it? Yes, because we have Caroline coming at 12, no?
Yeah.
So I think we could just, hi everybody, welcome back.
Hi again.
I know it has been a challenge because of having only 10-20 minutes, but I thought that Francesco's speech of today was was great, with many insights. So I prefer giving him much time because it was somehow propedeutical to today's session. So just to wrap up, I'm quite curious to see, maybe we can pick up two groups which worked on the same case study. So just to be if some differences have been spotted. So I don't know, maybe group A and F, because they worked on the same technology. Exactly.
Okay.
So just give us 2 or 3 minute speech on your value proposition canvas, maybe focusing on the task, the pain of the customer, and how you manage to solve this pain.
I'm going to just paste our draft in the.
Okay.
I think, can I paste a picture in the draft? Or it has to be something else? No, it doesn't seem to want to paste it. Maybe I can share the screen.
Yeah, if you can, yeah, it would be great.
By the way, usually this work with the value proposition canvas, it takes, I don't know, how many hours usually, Arianna?
Well, in a workshop, in an in-person workshop, at least 45, 1 hour, and it's just a scratch. So,
Can you see it?
yeah, we can see it.
Hey, but it's missing some of my bits. That's bizarre, because they're all my pay, my jobs and my pay. At least I don't see them. Do you see them?
We can see two pains
No,
relievers.
it's not what is in my screen. That's bizarre. Because we had all the colors everywhere. The corners, you know. It's true. Well, anyway, I can show you what we had.
Okay.
So here in the jobs, we are assuming that we are on the Down syndrome and we have a candidate drug, and we are assuming that we want to sell it to a bigger company to develop this drug further. So the job of that customer is to develop new drugs and to sell new drugs. Okay. So those are the things that they do. Their pains is that innovation is expensive and that they need, and finding those new targets is difficult. We thought that they will be quite happy to get a fast development and something that could get high profit from. And that would be their, gains. And then for our company, that we had a candidate and that we had some preclinical data. That was another red square we have there. I don't know why it's not showing. And we also had basically to match their job, that we have a drug candidate and we have a defined patient group. And for the extra value is that it's repurposing, so it's rather cheap to do all the preliminary work in terms of phase 1, 2, or the toxicity studies. They are probably already done. Okay. So then it will be quicker to get to the patients.
Okay, thank you, Virginia. I'm reading your name in the right way, Virginia. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Is there anyone else from the group F, if I'm right, that wants to share the canvas with us?
I'm still sharing mine.
I can try, but we kind of misunderstood, and we thought we had a break until 12.
It's okay. As I said, it's an ongoing work, so it would take hours and hours to do that. But just to give you a try to see how things work. But don't worry about it.
I'm quite happy actually, because that's probably our only chance to do better than you.
Don't put pressure on me. I only have stuff saying write on me and copy paste me. I don't know if you can see the screen. So we thought the customer would be pharma industry, and their job is to develop new drug candidates or find new customers for all drugs.
Okay.
And their major pain is, we agree with Virginia, that drug development takes time and it takes a lot of money. And I think this is sort of the same, but again would be faster time to market, but it's sort of
nice to have.
Yeah, it's nice to have, but it also it's like a reflection of a pain. So I'm not sure if it's actually a gain or. And on the pain relievers, since we were talking about drug repositioning, I have a text here that it's on the wrong place, but it's drug repositioning is faster than drug development. It is also cheaper. And on the plus, on the green side, you should see it's a safe drug because it's already tested.
Yeah, it's a benefit too. Yeah,
but it's in the wrong place here. Sorry.
Okay.
If I may add, I was jumping in Group F at the very last minutes. We had a question about the fact that if it's repurposing a drug, then there is an issue with patents because this drug is already being used for something else, and then you want to use it for a different disease. So you are doing the research, you are the scientist who found out that it can be used for this disease, but it's not your drug. It's being already sold for something else. So, you know, what do you have in your hands? In fact, you cannot even patent it. Maybe you can patent it.
Perhaps you can. Perhaps their patent is already off license or something, and you've already rebought it with your company. I don't know what.
Exactly. So one has to be careful, you know, selling something if it's not yours somehow. But,
yeah, we're gonna see this with Veronica just
exactly.
after we did the lunch.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing because the next speaker will be Veronica, one of our colleagues, and she's the expert. We can say today's expert on licensing and intellectual property protection. So could be a good question to ask her. Okay, well,
I must stop sharing.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not. It's here. Sorry.
Well, actually, to wrap up today's session, well, it was a pity not having the longer period of time to be focused more on the value proposition. But to wrap up, the key message of today is that communication is the key. Remember, if you want to communicate to industry, the one stakeholder that will transfer your research into practical and tangible results, you have to show them the value of your research. Not the process, not the technicalities, but the value that you create for them, because they won't pay for nothing. They will pay for getting some value. So this is the wrap up today of today's session, just to sum up. Okay, I think that we can leave the floor to Caroline now.
Yes, thank you, Arianna.